Hey guys, I'm gonna give you a Beth Avenue story about back in the day when I was a kid. When me and little Georgie Adamo stole Anthony Spero's slot machines. You know, Anthony Spero controlled the neighborhood. He was the John Gotti of my neighborhood, Beth Avenue. Anthony Spero, 100%. You know, he grew up with the likes of Carmine Galante, Rusty Rastelli. You know, those were his pairs. But this one night, it was a rainy night. Me and little Georgie, we really ain't doing anything. We're young kids. I'm going back to the early 80s. And this was a big thing. You know, when his club got robbed. At this time, you had Sally Temperino, Kevin Orkento, those guys doing burglaries all over the neighborhood. And it was very rare if someone robbed a social club, you know, but this was a burglary. Next door from my apartment building on Bay 16th Street, this Italian guy, Joe, owned a building. He still does. If you go down that block, you'll see it. And when you go in the door, if you go to the left, there's a wall that the only thing that was separating the social club was plywood. If you could rip it open, and there was some door right behind it where, you know, nobody knew. Me and little Georgie and John Polio used to go and smoke pot in the hallway with Puerto Rican Kim. She was my sister's friend, Karen. And she lived in the building too. So we one day we're just sitting around and we're looking for money. You know, we're young kids, we're looking for money. And we used to go in Anthony Spero Social Club and play the Joker poker machines. And we used to watch them take out all the quarters, the cash. So it was like a Saturday night or something. It was raining out. Me and little Georgie decided to rob the slot machine. We opened up the plywood, cracked it open, kicked open a door that was behind it, and the Joker poker machine was right there. We got a crowbar, just broke it right open, broke the lock open, boom. And there was like maybe, I would say maybe $600-700 in quarters and some singles, some 5s and 10s. Back then you could put in the 20s, I think, the 100s. So after we got out of there, now we knew we couldn't get rid of all these quarters in the neighborhood because it will come back to us. You know, eventually we know Anthony Spero is gonna investigate this and want to find out who did this, because this is a serious crime. You know, you're robbing Anthony Spero, his social club, his Joker poker machine. Who the fuck are you to do something like that? But we're young kids. You know, we don't give a fuck. You know, we're not looking at you know, the outcome of this. We're just doing it on the fly. So we know we couldn't get rid of the quarters in the neighborhood because he's gonna investigate, you know, who's selling quarters, stuff like that. So what we do is we hopped on the train and we got these bag of quarters, like maybe $400 or $500 worth of quarters. And we go to Manhattan. This kid, Patty Scotto, he was a friend of ours. We would hang out with him every so often. He owned a pizzeria somewhere in Manhattan, and Georgie was very friendly with him. And I think I have a picture of all three of us, me, Patty Scotto, and little Georgie. At that time, he was dating this girl, Robin. So we go to the pizzeria in Manhattan, and we count the quarters, and he gives us the money, whatever it was. We eat some pizza, hang out. The next day, when Anthony Spero goes in the social club and he finds out he's been robbed, mink yachts, forget about what the fuck. The guy's face turned red. Kidding me? He wanted to fucking kill somebody. He reaches out to Sally Temperino, Kevin Orkento. These are the kids in the neighborhood that at that time was doing burglaries, robbing stores. And he tells them, he says, I want to know who did this. And Sally Temperino and Stephen Orkento swears up and down it wasn't them, which it wasn't them. It was me and little Georgie Adamo. And the next day, we're still hanging out in front of Nick's candy store like nothing happened. And we're making believe that we know nothing about it. And we're going to go look and find out who did this too, you know? We're telling them, you know, we'll find out who did this. And after maybe 2-3 months, it was forgotten about. But when this first happened, it was a big thing. Robbing Anthony Spero's Joker poker machine. Forget about it. And if we would have got caught and he found out, no doubt in my mind, we would have caught fucking beatings at that time, 100%. But that's an old Bath Avenue story back in the day when we were kids, going back down to the 80s. Things like that were unheard of, but looking back, I could talk about this and talk about little Georgie Adamo, how he introduced me basically into this fucking life, going to social clubs when we were kids. His father was Georgie Crowbar. He was baptized by Eddie Leno, and then Anthony Spero stepped in for him at his communion or confirmation, one of those. But looking back, when I was a kid, I tell you how things were different. Now all we have is this phone. We go like this with the phone all day. But I hope you enjoyed the story. Enjoy your Saturday over here in New York. It looks like it's going to rain. I'm going to be probably taking a ride down to Pittsburgh soon. Go see some of my family members, some of my friends. If you're out in Pittsburgh, look me up. Let me know. With that said, like I said, I see you in my next video. Give your life to God. Do the right thing. And every day, I'm trying to make my crooked path right. But I love you all. Thank you all for the support. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.